My name is Susan Reardon. I'm the staff hearing officer, and I call the meeting of Wednesday, March 9th to order. Today we have 4 items on our agenda, and I haven't received any requests for changes to the agenda, so we will take them on the order that they appear. The second item on the agenda is announcements and appeals. We have an appeal scheduled for tomorrow for a performance standard permit on a property located at 1233 Mission Ridge Road. It was approved about a month ago and appealed by neighbors, so that will be at the Planning Commission tomorrow. And I have no other announcements. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to address the staff hearing officer on items not on our agenda today?
Is this the Planning Commission?
No, this is actually the staff hearing officer, but they review appeal actions.
The Planning Commission's tomorrow, Thursday.
Yes, but you're in... Yeah, you're in the right place because you're the applicant for San Roque. So you're in the right place. All the decisions that the staff hearing officer makes are appealable to the Planning Commission. So that was a decision that was appealed, and it's going to be heard tomorrow. So yes, no, you're in the right place. Okay, so then we'll move on to the first item, which is 2914 Paseo Tranquilo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Anytime you're ready.
Okay. Joanne McConty, Assistant Planner. The property is located at 2914 Paseo Tranquillo. The property is zoned E3 and is a 4,950 square foot lot. Current development on site consists of a one-story, 825 square foot single-family residence with an attached 328 square foot. With an attached 328 square foot garage. The proposed project involves demolition of a 214 square foot shed, demolition of the existing garage, construction of approximately 287 square feet of new habitable space, this location and this location here, a new 400 square foot 2-car garage, some windows and doors, and a new wall at the front interior lot lines. The wall will be approximately 42 inches in height. The request before you today, the request before you today is for modifications to allow the new garage to be located within the 6-foot interior yard setback, which would also have a fixed window, and for a portion of the new habitable space, approximately 21 square feet, to be located in the required open yard area. The new garage proposal will be 20 feet in length. However, a portion of the garage will only be 18 foot 10 inches wide. Although the garage will not meet the minimum 20-foot dimension, transportation staff has determined that the new design will function and is a good solution due to the constraints of the lot and the existing house location. Due to the undersized E3 lot, staff can support a modification to allow the garage to meet the new size requirements. Also, staff can support a modification for a portion like 21 square feet of new habitable space in the open yard, which will actually result in an increased open yard area due to the removal of the 214 square foot shed. In addition, there is a portion of the open yard, approximately 300 square feet, which would not qualify to meet the minimum 20 dimension, but does provide an open space area for the outdoor use of the occupants. The resulting 1,108 square feet of open yard space does provide an adequate open yard area for the occupants on the site due to the small lot size. It is staff's position that the modifications being requested will allow for expansion of the residence in a single-story style consistent with the neighborhood, and also while maintaining adequate area for open yard for the occupants. with no expected impacts to adjacent neighbors. Staff would like the project supported with the condition that the new window will be a fixed window. Staff has received 5 letters regarding the project, which have been forwarded to the staff hearing officer. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Great, thank you. If you'd like to state your name for the record and add additional comments.
Good morning, Sophie Calvin, agent and designer for this project. Comments that I would just like to add, thank you, Joanne, is we first looked at designing a conforming 2-car garage. Because the residence is elevated by 18 inches relative to a slab of garage, we couldn't take a corner. And maybe if I can turn the page to the floor plan, it can illustrate this a little bit better. So it's a modest home of 825 net square feet. So we would have to cut into this already kind of small living room. And because of the heights of floor area, we chose to go to transportation and see if they could support a smaller but still conforming 400 square foot. So it is a deeper 2-car garage, but there's a portion, like Joanne said, that is a little bit narrower. So 2 cars will function properly and park in this space. The second modification, and the reason why to make it, unfortunately, into the side yard setback is only because we couldn't move it closer to the front door and take up part of the living space of the living room. The second modification is in the rear yard. The architecture that we're proposing, change to the elevations. We're adding a stone veneer on the garage, and we'd love to carry this waterline band line around the back, and it was important to break the facade of this addition of a master bedroom from the existing flat facade of the rear elevation or north elevation. So that was one of the reasons, and the second reason was that the room size was still pretty small with getting a bathroom and bedroom, so we needed those approximately 14 inches or 21 square feet to go into the rear yard. I suggested to the client to go show these plans to the neighbors, which he did, and you have those letters on file, but I just want to point out that the neighbor who would be most affected by the garage would be the neighbor to the west, and they're in favor of the project.
Okay, because I saw letters from other neighbors, but I didn't see
This one just
anything
came
from
in Monday, so you,
okay,
you see
that's
that one is
okay.
there.
Oh, great. Yeah, thanks. All right, thanks.
That's kind of it, unless you have questions for me.
Okay. I don't think at this time. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the staff hearing officer on this project? Seeing no one. Like I said, I received a number of letters of support in the packet, and then this additional one. So I'll close the public hearing. I went out to the site yesterday, and I've read the staff report, and this shed's gone.
Correct.
And it appears to have been gone for quite some time, right?
I don't know the time frame. To be honest, I don't.
All right, yeah, the last ZIR that was done in '86 doesn't mention it. The one before that did, so it seems to be gone for quite a while. So, it appears that approval's actually been abandoned just since it was been removed and just not replaced. But in the backyard is very small, but you have a very small lot. I think, though, in this instance, the minor encroachment of 21 square feet, when you take in the whole of the backyard, not taking in the fact that this was there and now it's gone, but just the existing situation, I think the minor encroachment can still be found consistent with the zoning ordinance, and that there is 1,400 square feet of area back there, although, a portion of it, 200,
almost
300 square feet doesn't meet the minimum dimension, but the way it's designed and functions now, it is one usable area. It's in the backyard. It meets all the intent of the code requirements. In regards to the interior yard setback here, 3.2 is very close. It is a garage. It is a fixed window. I'm glad that this letter was submitted by this neighbor because of all the improvements. This is the one that would have the potential to cause the most impact. And I agree with staff that that window should be fixed and that there shouldn't be a door, exit door in that area, just because you get the door and then you have a light and then you have it right next to their wall, which there's windows. I notice there's windows on here, so that would not be appropriate. But the fact that it is limited to a fixed window and that that window will be, or to a window and that window will be fixed, I think that that could be found consistent with the zoning ordinance. So, given all that, it is a small lot. The open yard meets the intent of the zoning ordinance. I could make the findings outlined in the staff report. I would like to just identify that it is an existing non-conforming open yard area. This talks about allowing it to encroach into the open yard, which may make it sound like it is conforming right now, but it's not. So, Kathy, on the second sentence where it starts, the reduced interior setback and cross out open yard, but encroachment into the non-conforming open yard, then are consistent. And then in regards to the condition, the proposed condition that the window be fixed, that's fine. And then I would like the area that's shown on the plan submitted for a building permit show just a total of 1,250 square feet. So just where the non-conforming open yard area is on the plan.
Okay.
Which is just, revision to the plan. So with those two conditions and the change to the findings, I approve your project. And my action is appealable to the Planning Commission within 10 calendar days. They also have oversight authority of all my actions, and if they felt this warranted discussion before them, they have the ability to call the project up within that same day, 10-day appeal period. And if either of those were to occur, Joanne would contact you.
Okay.
Okay?
Great. Thank you very much.
The next item is 533 Conejo Road.
Good morning.
Anytime you're ready.
Thank you. Okay, good morning. My project site is a 7,000 square foot lot located between Conejo Road and Conejo Lane. Previous development on the site was destroyed in the T-fire, and this is a proposal to rebuild back a similar footprint. The proposed project involves a 2-story residence, access off of Conejo Road into a 2-car garage. The previous development on site consisted of a single-story residence with a 2-story garage. The proposed rebuild will actually reduce some of the previously existing footprint and then create a larger second-story addition. The portion shown here highlighted requires modification approval for its location within the 35-foot front yard setback off of Conejo Lane. I'm going to show you some floor plans that very clearly describe the previous situation, which was a 1,417 square foot house. Again, first floor and second floor only over the 2-car garage. The proposed project, which will add approximately 700 square feet of second-story space, reduces the previously existing first floor by 51 square feet, and then adds a second story here outside of the interior setbacks, rebuilding the area that previously existed, but filling in the difference of the area to complete that second floor addition. Again, here's the 45 square foot area that now needs modification approval in order to complete the project. It's staff's position that the amount of encroachment required to replace development on the site with a new and improved home, and understanding that the majority of the addition does observe all current setbacks, is an appropriate improvement on the site and that the modification being requested can be justified. Our approval would be subject to relocation of the trash and recycling receptacles that have been proposed here in the front yard setback. They might be more appropriately placed inside the garage.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Okay, great, thank you. Would you like to state your name for the record and add any additional
Yes,
comments?
my name's Art Galindo. I'm the project manager for Miguel Mardueno, the owner, also the authorized party.
Okay. And is there anything additional you'd like to add? Any comments?
I'm good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who'd like to address the staff hearing officer on this item, which is 533 Conejo Road? No? Have we received any letters? Then I'll close the public hearing. I went out and visited the site. There's a lot of construction going on around in your area.
Yes,
This wall here that crosses the property line, is that going to remain? Or
that's correct.
And you have easements for it?
Yes,
and all
ma'am.
that? Okay. That was my main comment. I looked at the archive plans, and I had some questions regarding existing setbacks and what was set back before. And I know there's history of discrepancies on lot lines and all that, and we feel that's what happened in this case. There's probably off the wall, the setback and all
Correct.
that. Okay. All right. Well, I've reviewed the plans, read the staff report, and this project, I think the amount of encroachment that you're asking for is minor. Although you do front on two public streets, so you technically by the zoning ordinance have two front yards, Conejo Road functions as your front yard, and from Conejo Lane this does look like a backyard area, so I think the encroachment of that small area of the second floor is appropriate and can be found consistent with the purposes and intent in the zoning ordinance. Now, in terms of the architectural changes, and it says window changes too, right? What changes are occurring on the second floor? On the second floor, particularly within the setback. This window here, is this a clear story window, or is it? I can go to elevation. Is it?
Yeah,
something-
it's a 3040 window. That will be the bedroom window.
So for exiting. See, in this neighborhood, it's hard to get an idea of what's going to be adjacent, since the whole area was wiped out with the fire. A lot of times with second-story windows in the setback raise concerns regarding the privacy. And since the house next to you is under construction right now, how does this window relate to the adjacent neighbor? It's hard to know.
We have the plans. Did the previous second story over the garage have a window
Yes.
on that wall?
No, that's right. Truthfully, I hadn't seen the plan in a while, but
And I apologize, I haven't reviewed them recently, so.
That's fine. I have the archives here. See, in this area here where it says it's 7-7. That is small.
It's much smaller, okay?
Does this need to go back to the SFDB?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I could support the rebuild of the project and make the findings in the staff report. However, I would want to put a condition that when this project returns to the SFDB, that they look at that window and try to look at the window in regards to neighborhood privacy issues, or neighborhood, yeah, I said that right. Because, it was existing as a smaller elevated window, and now it is larger, and someone could stand there and be looking out onto the adjacent property.
understood. I understand what you're saying. Okay.
That is something that I would like the SFDB to look at in terms of the appropriateness and the location of that window.
Okay.
I realize you need a second access for building code requirements.
It looks like there is one over
In
the
the front?
balcony. Yeah.
How about
Oh, the new one. Excuse me. So we have got this.
Okay, yes, all right. So, yeah, I would like them to look at that window in regards to...
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay.
So then I make the findings outlined in the staff report and approve your project subject to that condition. And my action, like you heard me tell the owner beforehand or the applicant beforehand, it's appealable to the Planning Commission within 10 calendar days of today. And then they also have oversight authority of all my actions, and if they felt this warranted additional discussion before them, the member of the Planning Commission could call this up, and if either of those were to occur, Ms. Milazzo would contact you.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you.
So I just wait 10 days for the grace period, if you
We
will?
would not require that. You can go back into the counter today to get back on an agenda for your single-family design board approval.
Okay.
Okay? By the time you get back on that agenda, probably 10 days will pass, and you'll be ready to submit for your building permit at that point.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The next item is 1229 Kai Cerrito Alto. Good morning.
Good morning.
Will you take those? Thank you. Okay, this project site also involves a fire-damaged residence. However, it's located on the west side of the city on a 1-acre plus lot with an irregular configuration. At the time of the original development, modifications were granted to allow the development to be pulled here into the front and side yard setbacks to eliminate excessive grading on the site. The existing house and its footprint located here originally got modifications for both interior and front yard setbacks. When the applicant was in for fire rebuild permits, we had identified that certain things that were originally constructed have been altered over the years and have taken the opportunity to have the applicant come back in and legalize all things that have been changed from what the permit plans show. The project is requesting modifications to allow a couple things besides that. The front entry, which currently exists in this area, is going to be reconfigured. They want to be able to use it for an outdoor living space that takes advantage of the views. This is appropriate. Property is located on a cul-de-sac. It won't have any impacts, but it is a portion of the development that's currently located within that front yard setback. The applicant is also proposing to return some window and opening changes here that actually are shown on the original development, but were not constructed like that. This window coming out of a master bath has a landing that would allow access into the interior yard. The previously existing carport is now being proposed to remain as a carport. They had a little bit of a development constraint with the dimensions. So although the legal notice that went out may have requested a garage, they are proposing to rebuild the structure as the carport that previously existed in that location. It's staff's position that these two minor modifications do not intensify floor area or violate the purpose or intent of the ordinance. However, we do have concerns with a landing and a door coming out into a setback. We did not see that there was a necessity for access out of a bathroom. So staff is not asking for support of that modification, but the architectural improvements to the entry deck and porch definitely secure an appropriate improvement as a part of the overall fire repair. Any approval granted today by the staff hearing officer needs to include language that an illegal accessory structure located in this part of the property and partially onto a neighboring site be completely removed. We would want conditions of probably an earlier demolition during the construction. The modification would be good for 2 years, and during that time they have an opportunity to pull their building permits, but we would want to address the outstanding building violation and zoning violation of the illegal accessory structure with shorter timelines.
And as the conditions proposed, it just says it shall be removed. It doesn't say a particular timeline.
Yeah, I think that would be a better idea, though, now that we realize, the restore restoration and the repair for the fire damage. I mean, as long as you kept your building permit active, it could extend into time. Where the outstanding violation of the detached second unit on a single-family lot probably needs to take a different direction and have a shorter timeline for its abatement.
Okay.
All it would need is a demolition permit, not a building permit.
Okay, great, thank you. Would you like to state your name for the record? And
I'm Rex Ruskoff, architect for Diana Thompson, the property owner. And when considering the timeline to demolish this structure, which the structure was built prior to the lot split that created this property and was converted to a residence without benefit of a permit over time. But when you consider the timeline for demolition on this house right now is completely vacant, and Ms. Thompson's son-in-law and daughter are going to move into it, currently are living in this place.
Does it have a building permit?
It does not have a building permit. I don't know that it had a building permit for when it was originally built as a barn structure.
Okay.
So they're currently living in it because when they started the demolition on this with the benefit of a permit, they started losing tools, articles that they wanted to keep, chandeliers, furniture, were walking away. So being on site and their dogs on site has mitigated that problem. So when you consider the timeline to tear this down, we're going to move on this permit as fast as we can. And we would like this to be somewhere near when this starts getting close to a certificate of occupancy, if that's possible.
Okay. And what about the mods in question?
The modifications in question, we can eliminate the stair and just make that glazing. And all that really changed on this from the original house prior to the fire is that we're eliminating a window on this elevation, and we are moving what were the existing windows into the master bath a little closer to the street to create a slightly larger master bedroom. So
Now, are you demoing that portion of the structure and rebuilding it?
that portion of the structure needs to be demolished and rebuilt because the fire occurred in the crawl space underneath it, and so structurally it's been compromised.
Okay.
We're building it like for like in the footprint that it was
And you wanna
to the
see
height that it was.
Proposed footprint there. The lower level.
This is the crawl space, and then this dashed line is the master suite above,
Right.
and the fire occurred right here, so it damaged the supporting walls as well as the floor joists for the master suite.
Okay.
The proposed master suite is identical in footprint and height to the existing structure. What we've done is the master bathroom was here. We've moved it back a little bit to create a slightly larger master bedroom. This corner here was originally in violation of the solar ordinance. It will be the exact same height. One of the things we are going to do, though, is lower the floor to get a little more ceiling height in this space.
Well, because one of the things I looked at the original plans that are for the project, and it looks like the record is that there was a setback approved for 10 feet, and then under construction it was found out that the survey was wrong, and so then it got reduced to in that area it was 6'8".
I believe they had
6'8".
and I'm requesting 6'3".
Yeah.
That's based on my surveyor being dead on exactly where the structure is, and that's exactly where it's going to go back. So there may have been an error back in '76 when their surveyor, and just to give you some background as to how that occurred back in '76, their surveyor went off and located the corners of the crawl space to that 10-foot setback that they were granted. When they got framing, they realized we're over.
Right.
And so they came back for a second modification. We're only asking that those same modifications be granted because we're building the exact same footprint that is there now.
So you've surveyed from the property line to the existing corner of the building, and it's 6'3".
And it's 6'3". And then the front yard was slightly different, too. I believe it was 8 something.
8'6" is what was
8'6", and I believe
approved.
I'm requesting, is it on that one or over here?
It'll be here. 8-1.
8'1".
Okay.
So, I don't know. My surveyor's given me these, a dead-on GPS survey. How it was done in '76, I don't know. But
Why
those
not?
are the exact amount. Well, because I was
Kidding.
2 years out of high school and didn't know where I was going with my life.
I'm kidding.
Did you? When you were 2 years out of high school?
Yeah. Okay, those are my questions for now. I'd like to open the public hearing. There's an orange slip over there. Is that for right now?
No, it isn't.
Okay, so I'd like
Someone
to...
in the audience wish to speak?
On 1229 Kais. All right, I have received two correspondence on this item. One is from Ms. Paula Westbury. Is this on this project?
I know. She's a little schizophrenic.
Yeah, it's probably the same person. 2914 Paseo Tranquilo. She said the landmark is needed. The dimensions are...
This is Kai Cerrito Alto. Here you go.
Oh, no wonder. God. All right,
I cannot be responsible for properties I'm not working on.
Oh, we'll figure out a way. I'm kidding. This is a T-fire home. The present house is smaller.
No, that's Conejo. That's got to be Conejo.
Okay,
It
no,
says
this
Kai
is
Cerrito
1229.
Alto, and it's
Well,
not
she
T-fire.
submitted a letter expressing concerns with the project. And then another one from Mr. Tabor, who I see is in the audience. He is expressing concerns regarding the guest house and how that the language for the conditions should be expanded to include prohibit the issuance of a C of O for the main house until the guest house is demolished. So those are the letters I've received on this project. So I'm going to close the public hearing. I went out to the site and I've read the staff report, and I agree with the original modification of pushing the house up to the street. The site just drops off after this. It is real close to this area. That's why I was questioning regarding the interior setback and what's there now, what you're proposing, because they are all, at least these two homes are really squished together. And I'm glad to see that you are dropping the proposal for the exterior stairs, because I could not support that also. I know there's mentions in the staff report, and also a condition about these walls altered so it can't be used as storage. And right now there's trash in the trash containers, and this may be an appropriate area for that. However, a mod wasn't requested to allow those to remain there, so another place for the storage of the trash would have to be found. So in regards to the front setback modification, a lot of times I am concerned with front yard modification requests because it is on private property, but it is part of the public streetscape, and it's what you see when you drive down the street. In your situation, your street, although it's a public street, it functions kind of more as a private street. You're at the end of it. It doesn't have high traffic volume, which is good, because when you try to turn the corner to come up here, as a UPS truck was coming down when I was coming up, it's like, whoa. But that's a side note. In regards to your requested modification in the front setback with the improvements to the front facade of the building, I think it is an enhancement in this area, and I think it is appropriate improvement and an appropriate modification request that can be found consistent with our zoning ordinance. In regards to the guest house that has been constructed, I can understand your concerns. However, if it doesn't even have a building permit, it is an illegal structure. It is a high priority in the city to abate those types of things. So I would want to put some kind of condition or timeline that needs to be permit issued for that, and then definitely it needs to be gone by the time of the certificate of occupancy for this house. But what you're telling me, Roxanne, is that staff's recommending that not only the building permit be issued, but that it be gone within 6 months, a year.
The applicant has, I understand he's saying they want to move on it right now, but they wouldn't really have to pull a building permit for 2 years. And then the construction could take who knows
A
how
year.
long, because as long as you keep getting building inspections, you could keep that permit open for 4 years. Would you want to allow the illegal unit to remain for 2, 3, I mean, how indefinitely? Or do you want to have that issue addressed as a part of your approval?
Well, what I'm thinking is that the accessory structure be gone within a year, because a year should be adequate time to be able to get all of this done. And so,
very generous.
If this, if this gets dropped and it's not followed through within a year, that structure needs to be gone.
That would be agreeable.
Okay.
Good.
So, I think in terms of the conditions, the first one says, all as-built construction shall be shown on plans with details of method of legalization, including the demolition of the detached accessory structure. What would you think, Roxanne, if I alter that saying, all as-built construction shall be shown on the plans, and then include submitted for a building permit, and then with details, blah, blah, blah. And then add the statement, abatement of all the violations shall occur prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the subject project. And then I can add, so that requires it all to be shown, and then I'll add another condition. The next one, the new two, would be that the existing illegal accessory structure shall be demolished within 1 year of today's approval. And so that way, it needs to be shown on the plans, but then within 1 year it needs to be gone. And then it's still the statement in number 1 talking about abatement of all the violations. So if you were to be done with this project in 9 months, that needs to be gone in 9 months.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's not, that gets a year from today, and it doesn't matter what's going on with this.
A year from today, or
maximum-
certificate of
Yes,
occupancy,
whichever's
whichever.
first.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, and then the second one, the second condition, just add the fact that no storage of trash should occur within the setback. And then leave 3 as is. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Okay, so with those revised conditions, I can make the findings outlined in the staff report and approve the modification in regards to the window changes in the interior setback and the front porch alterations and front entry alterations, and then the access way, the new door and the stairways is denied. And then, like you've heard me say on the other projects, this action is appealable to the Planning Commission. They also have the oversight authority, and if either of those 2 situations would occur, Ms. Milazzo, or actually Ms. Brooke, would contact you.
Okay.
And so you have approval. And before we go to the next item, I would just like to do a quick acknowledgement of Roxanne, of all her hard work at the city, and wish you well. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you.
I know you didn't want me to say anything, but I had to say something.
Thank you. That was okay. That was
Okay. All right, so the next item is 605 and 615 San Roque Road. Sorry for scaring you earlier that you were in the wrong place.
Oh, you scared my applicant?
I announced the appeal, and she's, oh, is this the Planning Commission? I said, no, you're in the right place, but I was just announcing the Mission Ridge appeal. So this item, yeah, just in case people are watching and they want to know the update. So this item, anytime you're ready, do you want me to pull out my plans?
Yes, please. Okay. So this project is at 605 and 615 San Roque Road. Miss Leslie Alexander is here. She's the property owner of 615 San Roque. No, 605 San Roque.
Yeah.
So you can see here San Roque Road. It's at the corner of Calle Fresno and San Roque, and Mrs. Alexander owns 605 back here, and then the adjacent lot here is 615, and then 609 is actually in the front on San Roque Road. And the proposal consists of a lot line adjustment between 2 existing lots. Approximately 16,433 square feet of lot area will be transferred from 615 San Roque to 605 San Roque. And the newly created parcel at 615 will now be smaller, and it'll be 15,000 square feet with an average slope of 7%. And Mrs. Alexander's lot, 605 San Roque, will be larger, 35,971 square feet with an average slope of 23%. Also, let's turn the page here. if you look at how Mrs. Alexander currently accesses her lot, she has an easement here, 11 foot wide,
Actually, the easement is 20 feet.
20 feet
But the
wide.
road's about 11 feet.
Okay, so that it says right here, 11 foot wide driveway, 20 foot wide access easement. So she has to drive over 609 San Roque to get to her property. And so because she doesn't have any frontage on the street, that she was also required to get a street frontage modification to allow less than the required amount of street frontage. Newly created lots in the E1 zone usually require, I think it's 100 feet of frontage, and she doesn't really have any. So it is already existing that way, so that situation will not change. So basically the existing lot line is like this, and now she's requesting to change it like this. So she's basically going to be assuming this portion of the adjacent lot. Let's see. So the project was deemed exempt, categorically exempt, because there are 2 existing building sites, each developed with a single-family residence, and there's no increase in the potential for development, no new building sites. I already went over the lot frontage modification. Yes, in the E1 zone, lots are required to have 100 feet of street frontage, and she's already has no street frontage, and that will not be changing, but because she's basically creating new lot lines, she was required to get a modification to continue the existing non-conforming situation. The project complies with the general plan. It's in the San Roque neighborhood, and it's a general plan designation of 5 units per acre, and again, that will not be changing. And let's see, staff recommends that you approve the street frontage modification and the lot line adjustment, making the findings in the staff report.
Great, thank you. Now, I just want to confirm, or just kind of vocalize. Now, in this zone, or actually in single-family zones, we have a slope density ordinance which requires the minimum size of the lots to be increased based on the percentage of slope. So in this instance, 615, which is the property this north, is there north? 615, it's existing 31,000 square feet, and it has a 17% slope. So given that slope, it has to be 1.5 times bigger, so that equals 22,500.
Okay.
So that one can't be divided now because you would need 2 times that amount to get 2 lots.
The new lot, the
Yeah.
newly created lot.
Well, existing
Okay.
development. So existing development potential is 1. This one is smaller, so it's only 1.
Okay.
When we convert it, this one gets smaller. It meets the minimum requirement. The slope goes down. This one gets larger, but it's still, since it's 23%, it needs to be 2 times, which would be 30,000. And to get 2 lots, it need to be 60,000. So it's still
Still
1 to
wouldn't
1.
change the potential for development. It'll still be only one house.
And the slope actually gets less by a percentage
average slope.
on this on 605. Because I thank you for meeting me at the site yesterday. Going it steeps
Yes, towards the
slopes
street.
right down towards the park. And, okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
It's a beautiful area.
So if you'd like to state your name for the record, and if you have any additional comments you want to add.
My name's Leslie Alexander. I'm the applicant, not Tom Hale, but I've hired him to do the essential things that a surveyor has to do.
All right. And would you like to add any comments, or just...
No, I think I submitted all my comments.
Okay. Well, great. Yes, I've read the packet, all the information. So I need to open the public hearing, although there's no one in the audience, but still need to open the public hearing. I haven't received any correspondence on this item. Have you?
I received a letter from Paula Westbury.
Okay.
Oh, you received a letter from Paula?
Yeah, you want to? I'll make you a copy of it.
She's a busy little lady.
She regularly monitors all our agendas and quite often submits comment letters on them.
I know her.
Okay. Was there anybody else? Kathy? Okay, seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Like I said, I went out to the site, and thank you very much for showing me around your property. And as evident by the site visit, it now, I guess you have an easement over that area, and it now functions as part of your use area. And, this would officially formalize that through the change in the lot boundary. And,
If I were immortal, I wouldn't bother.
no, huh? Just clears things up.
Okay.
Well, like I discussed in my questions, the proposed situation conforms to our zoning ordinance. The development potential is the same. It's consistent with our general plan, land use densities, and then also in regards to the various policies and different elements, you're not proposing any improvements. With lot line adjustments, the review is really limited to consistency with the zoning ordinance, the general plan, and the building code, and you're not proposing any changes to your building, so your proposal is consistent with all three of those.
But just to confirm, Ms. Reardon, you're just clarifying for the applicant that even with this additional land, it will not be able to ever be redivided into 2 lots for a second house, which you're not planning to do, but...
No.
Correct.
In fact, there's going to be recorded a restriction against such adding another house there,
I saw that, like,
divided or not.
2100 until, no residence or garage will be permitted until 2000.
Yes. Just kind of a romantic idea, I guess.
Right. And then only says if permitted by the city. So, yeah, at this time, the zoning would not allow for an additional, for a lot split, so.
It may not ever. I mean, think of the fire department coming in over here.
Right, right. By way of, to get in by way of access. So I can make the findings outlined in the staff report. And I would, in both of those findings, Kathy, if we can just reference the date of the staff report, March 2nd. So where it says staff report, we just put dated March 2nd of 2011. And then I reviewed the conditions of approval. And again, they're fine. We're limited to conditions that make the project consistent with the zoning ordinance, but it's already consistent. So these conditions that are on here just reflects with what we approved, and then what kind of documents you need to submit to formalize the lot line adjustment. So with those minor changes to the findings and the conditions, I approve the project. And my action is appealable to the Planning Commission within 10...
Beg pardon?
It's appealable within 10 calendar days to the Planning Commission, which I know you wouldn't, but if there was a neighbor who may be watching or concerned, they have 10 days to appeal this action. Also, the Planning Commission
I
has...
have a neighbor who offered to come down and support it in case anyone opposed it. Nobody's opposed it.
Yeah, yeah. So it usually, if there's going to be appeal, the person shows up and voices their concerns at the hearing. But the Planning Commission also has oversight authority of all my actions, and if they felt this warranted additional discussion before them, a Planning Commissioner could call it up, and if that was to occur, Kelly
Will there
would
be any
contact you.
need for me to go to the Planning Commission?
No.
Seems like that would be sort of routine.
Yeah, no. So
Thank you very much.
if that were to, we'd contact you.
Okay.
And so, okay.
Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you. And being that was
And
the
thank you for all your help.
for putting up with me.
And with that, I adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Thanks.